All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I know it's the first video in a while, but I appreciate the patience while I've been out. I am coming back to you today with a big sales review from the months of February and March. We have a number of sales to go through. So for each one, I'll try to go as quickly as possible, but I'll go through what we paid, what we sold it for, as well as just some thoughts about each individual sale, as well as kind of just holistically as I've been making more sales and able to reflect more on this challenge now that we're about 6-7 months in. So without further ado, let's hop into the sales. So the first one that we sold is the 2002 Mundi Chromo Top League of Superstars Ronaldo. It's a PSA 9, only a pop 7 with 4 higher. So was pretty excited about that. These cards generally do well when they're in low pops. You can see all in, including grading, we're only in for about $28, which again was pretty good. Ended up selling it for $36 after eBay fees, which is a profit of almost $8, 27%. I know I've said it before, not a huge dollar amount, but if we can do this type of return at volume, I will take that all day. So not going to complain about a 27% return. Next, we have the 2021-22 Mosaic Premier League. This is the Pulisic Blue Prism out of 99. PSA 10 on this one, only a pop 4, sold on eBay. We were all in for $35, and it sold at auction after fees for $70.58. So we literally doubled our money there, which is awesome. Pulisic, nice color match with the blue. PSA 10, low pop. This is kind of like the bread and butter of our Bankroll challenge so far. So super excited for that one. And yeah, love that. Love doubling our money all day. Here we go, same card. This is the red and gold choice, the PSA 10, only a pop 2. We're actually all in for less than the blue, a few dollars, even though it was slightly shorter serial numbered. And this one sold at auction for $64. So again, we basically doubled our money again. So far 2 for 2 on the Pulisic Mosaic PSA 10s, doubling our money. Same card. This is the Genesis Prism. You all know how much I love Genesis. I think it's a super, I don't even know underrated is the right word, but I think it's a great short print parallel. They look awesome in person. And, to have a Pulisic, I thought, it's great. Just a great, great cost over all in for $80, as well as just, there's upside there because it's Pulisic and, big U.S. men's national team player. Given how well the other two did, so all these auctions were going on at the same time. Given how well the other two were doing, I expected this one to do like, I don't know, 160 if we're talking double, or, even as much as like 200. For whatever reason, it just didn't quite get as high as some of the other ones. I don't know if it's because it's just a non-numbered parallel, but still happy to take a 24% profit, but was definitely expecting a little more. Although I have seen some other Genesis PSA 10s, Mosaic Premier League go for kind of similarly low prices relative to what we'd expect. So I don't know, kind of head scratching there, but again, 24% ROI, we're not going to complain about that. So all right, guys, so I want to take a really quick break here to talk about Zion cases. So the folks at Zion Cases have been kind enough to provide me with a coupon code that I can pass along to my subscribers and anyone else who's watching this channel. I want to preface this with, I would never advertise or, mention something like this if it wasn't something that I was personally using and personally happy with. I do own a Zion case. Is actually my Zion slab case X right here. And I just figured, this is something that I use. This is something I've really enjoyed and wanted to try and pass along the good word to all of you, as well as a potential discount code if it's something that you're in the market for or something that you're interested in. So Zion cases, they have a number of cases that they make for slabs and raw cards. The things I really like about them are just the construction and the overall craftsmanship. There's a reinforced handle. They have these locking mechanisms so that when you close the case, you can actually lock it with a combination lock, which helps for added safety and, you know, make sure that if you're at a card show, nobody can just open your case and swipe your cards if you're, you know, turning your head for 5 or 10 seconds. There's also a bunch of different styles and colors. I have the 3-row, the Slab Case X. There's a 2-row. There's an XL that has 4 rows. Just a great variety of cases. There's backpacks, you know, for whatever your card storage needs. I find it great for at-home storage. I love that the case just kind of fits, you know, in my closet. It's portable. I can protect cards and also just kind of store them away. And just traveling on the go, you know, you can throw a bunch of slabs in here. I think it fits like 70 to 110 graded slabs. Plus you can see like just a ton of raw cards in there as well. The other thing I really like about this, actually the most, is that you can basically fit any type of slab and raw cards in there. So you don't have to worry about like, does this slab fit SGC? Does it fit BGS? Like I've been able to fit PSA, SGC, BGS, CSG, and raw cards in this case. So check it out if you're interested. No worries either way, but wanted to pass this along. If you are interested, you can use the code SoccerCardCorner for 10% off. And yeah, let's get back to the content. Okay, next one here is the 2020 Mosaic Euro Luka Modric. This is the Peacock choice, again, from the the Asia exclusive sets. This is a kind of like the Asia version of the Genesis, the Asia hobby version of the Genesis. It's a short printed, non-numbered parallel. You can see it's only a pop 2. Sold this one on eBay, all in for $67, including grading. And it's sold after fees for $111.80 for a profit of $44.58, 66%. I mean, this is like as good as it gets right here. Next we have 2021 Mosaic Premier League. This is the Sadio Mane Breakaway Fluorescent Gold of 10 PSA 9. So it's the breakaway insert. It's the gold fluorescent prism, number to 10. So bought this one thinking, it was actually kind of all in for, I think I bought it for a little over 50 and plus grading, we were a little over 70. But, you know, I was just thinking it's numbered out of 10. I recently sold a Harry Kane gold fluorescent numbered to 10 PSA 9 for like $200. So I just figured like, okay, we have upside here of $100+ and in a PSA 10 obviously would have been higher. I probably held on to this one for too long. I was trying to sell it on a buy it now for a while and then eventually just decided to auction it off, and you can see it just didn't do very well. I think, you know, it's kind of unfortunate. I probably missed the window on this one, especially once he left Liverpool and then was injured for a while, but I don't know, just take the $25 and recycle it back in, kind of live and learn. I think going forward with a card like this, I would either auction it right away or really just try to find a buy it now price that was, low enough to kind of move the card. I think holding cards like this is just not, it's an insert. It's a guy in his old jersey. It's just, I don't know, it's just not like the best move. I think in general, like holding cards is not like a great strategy for a bankroll challenge like this. The name of the game is really trying to like grade them, sell them, and kind of, keep things moving. All right, back to the Pulisic. So one thing I started experimenting with this go around is, buying more cards and then being a little more selective and being okay just selling some raw. And I think there's a couple reasons before I get into the numbers here why I would sell something raw versus, grading it and waiting the time. So one, obviously, like if there's an obvious defect on the card, you don't want to necessarily grade it and take a big loss. I think sometimes what I do is I try to be even more selective. So even if I think something could get a PSA 9, knowing that the price of a PSA 9 is, on par, maybe a little higher than a price of raw, sometimes it's just not worth it to send it in and wait for the PSA 9, then sell it and then take a loss versus just like you could, sell it right away. Another reason is sometimes if you can get a card for a price that's like 20% below eBay comps for some reason, it might honestly be worth just trying to like sell it on eBay and take a profit, because then you can basically bank in like a small profit. You don't have to worry about grading and you can kind of keep things moving. Unfortunately, what I did with a lot of my raw cards is I kind of didn't do either. So, or I kind of did both. Like I was selective enough to say, I don't know if these are going to get PSA 10s. But then I didn't sell them right away. So you'll kind of see what I'm saying. So this one was basically $127. It's the gold Prism out of 10. And as I showed before on, the blue and the choice and the Genesis, there's some pretty good upside with these cards. Even, even in a PSA 10, you could probably expect to almost double this. I decided to sell it raw because I thought, okay, I could probably easily get my money back if not make a little more, and I don't want to risk it getting a PSA 9. I think there was maybe like a little issue on this card. And it basically sold for $50 at auction. Took a pretty big loss on that one. I'll have some more thoughts on this, but again, like basically what happened here is I just held onto the card for too long, and by the time I sent it in and had it auctioned off, I did it through a DC Sports, an eBay consignor. It just took too long. I didn't move this card fast enough. Here's another one. This is actually the Mosaic World Cup Pulisic. This is the purple of 49. Same thing. I got it for 20. Thought there was upside here, just selling it raw, and almost made our money back. So this one's kind of like a wash. It's like would have lost more money sending this in, getting a PSA 9, and then selling it for like $20. It's like this way I'm limiting our losses with just selling it raw and moving on. Same card. This is the blue of 99 Mosaic World Cup. Got this one for only $10. So again, like just right here, like getting this for $10, it's like I can either grade this, be all in for around 30, or I can try and sell it raw. It sold for $11.90. So my hunch is that if this would have come back in a PSA 9, I probably would have lost almost all the grading fee. Instead, we made $1, basically get our money back and move on. Same card, red and gold choice, Prism of 88. Got it for $11. Decided to sell it via consignment. This one sold for $25.85. So kind of interesting. This one selling for so much of a premium, more than the blue, like sold for $11.90, and this one sold for more than double that. And we'll take that. I mean, this is like exactly what I'm talking about, where if you could get this type of profit selling raw, it's almost not even worth it to send it in for grading, because shouldn't say not worth it, but like if you can lock in 133% profit, you could just lock this in and keep going, right? It's definitely interesting that the red and gold choice sold better, like that much better than the blue. But to be honest, that's something I've seen kind of across the choice parallels. They just kind of outsell. I don't know if it's because they come from Asia and they're more they're sort of more exclusive, but it just, the perception of them, I think, in the market, at least what I've seen recently, is that they sell for a bit higher premium. All right, Top Stadium Club Chrome Giovanni Reina Orange Wave out of 25. Again, I got this for $30. There was an issue with it, just didn't think it was worth grading. Thought I could recoup that cost. And to be clear, a lot of the times when I'm buying these cards, like I'm looking at what the recent eBay comps are, either for the same or similar cards. So in general, the cost that I'm getting these at is pretty much in line or lower than the then current eBay comps. What I found with this, and you can see, so this one went down quite significantly by the time I graded it, lost $19. What I'm finding is happening is when I bought this card, the cost was in line with comps. But then because I didn't move it right away and I waited, and then obviously Reina kind of had a weird World Cup where he didn't really play. And then there was some drama with, him and his parents and Greg Berhalter. The market for him specifically, but like soccer in general, has kind of been, slowly continuing to trickle down since the World Cup. And this is just a matter of like, if I would have sold this right away, I probably lose much less, right? But instead I sat on it too long. By the time I got around to selling it, the market had dropped to where, we're taking a bigger loss than we needed to. Here's another one. This is the Giovanni Reina Peacock Choice. Got this one for about $50. Again, held it for a little too long. And, by the time we sold it, again, took another $19 loss. So Not much to say here. Just notice, especially after the World Cup, a lot of the U.S. men's national team stuff dipped from where it was, before during the World Cup, which I think is to be expected. All right. Finally, this one. So this one I got before the World Cup. I bought this raw. I think I bought it for like $50 something. And this is the Messi Finest Flashbacks Gold Refractor. We got a PSA 10. At the time we sold it, it was a pop one. And like I said, I was all in for like $77, bought it for less than $60, and honestly thought that this one could go for a significant amount. The black of 25 PSA 10 sold for $1,500. Buy it now. So I had this listed on eBay for a while, buy it now. Didn't really get many offers, decided, had some interest, but then decided, okay, I'm just gonna just auction it off. Was getting a lot of activity, a lot of watchers, and then just for whatever reason, towards the end of the auction, just never really took off. Still, after fees, still got $311. This was, still a huge return. Obviously, this is an incredible return, 305%. I mean, that's insane, right? A little disappointed because I kind of expected this to go north of 500, but again, I think just where the market is or has been, things just kind of aren't popping, at least for soccer recently. So super happy with that. I mean, that's 305%. I mean, that's just insane. I think we've got a few cards like that now, which has basically made up almost all of our profit, which is kind of the name of the game. But super cool card. I love the Finest Flashbacks. I was a big fan of Finest back in like the 90s when I was a kid collecting cards. So to see them do like a soccer throwback set is super awesome. So yeah, pop one. Congrats to the buyer. Glad it found a happy home. All right, so that's pretty much it for February and March. Before I get into a snapshot of where our bankroll stands, just some takeaways I was thinking about as I was going through this. So on all these cards, we did make a $219 profit. So we did take some big losses. Obviously, the Messi was, pretty much all of our profit. But it was a 34% ROI overall, which again, I think, if we're making 30 cents on every dollar, that's a great return. That is something where it's really just a matter of getting more volume and being able to scale up the volume. And, basically like every time we invest, $1,000, we're making 300. It's just, trying to turn that money around faster. The U.S. men's national team, pretty big losers across the board. I think part of that is due to, Giovanni Reyna being one of the two people that I, had heavily invested in this go around, as well as I think some of the Pulisic stuff, he's been injured. Some of his Chelsea stuff has just been kind of dropping a little bit. I'm not 100% sure why his gold Prism to 10 did so poorly relative to some of the other stuff, but again, sometimes you just catch a market at the wrong time. And if the wrong people are watching an auction, or I should say, if the right people aren't watching an auction, sometimes you just take a loss. I mentioned this, but the Asia Choice parallels are, the red and gold, the peacock, seem to outperform regular parallels for the same players and cards. You saw that with the Pulisic specifically. The Modric peacock did really well. Even the Reyna peacock. I mean, it lost money, but it lost less than some of his other stuff. I think the one thing that I've really started to learn is that the velocity is key. I have so much fun buying cards and finding cards and trying to find good deals, and I get the cards, and I need to get better at like inspecting them, sending them out, having a plan for them. With raw cards, it's kind of like if I look at them and they're not gradable, or if I don't think that they can get a 10, like I need to move those as soon as possible. Like there's really no reason to just let them sit here, right? All that's going to happen is that the market is going to potentially continue to go down, and then I'm just going to lose money. And even if I recoup my cost, it's just money that's like sitting on the sidelines that I can't put in play. And then graded, I think, the big thing there is, it's taking about a month plus to like sending cards and get them back. So just like not overpaying, even if you're paying in line with eBay comps, like thinking about like, okay, if this drops 10, 20, 30% by the time I get this back, is it still a good buy? And that's kind of more art than science at some points, just because it's hard to know exactly how far the market's going to go down. But I just found that like things have been kind of going down. So it's like just being disciplined and not overpaying, because it's likely that even if you get that PSA 10, like the Pulisic Genesis, it's like that's kind of the best case scenario, and we still only made like $20 and had to wait, over a month to get the card back. I put when in doubt buy Messi. Easier said than done. I found that Messi stuff sells really well, but it's also hard to get. I got super lucky getting that Finest Flashbacks for like $60. I guarantee if I would have bought that after the World Cup, it would have been probably 150 easily. But yeah, if you can find Messi, it's going to be tough for his market to decline forever. So, and then the last thing I'll say is, and this is sort of in the context of the broader soccer card market, is that the soccer card market's been kind of continuing to trickle down, and it's not going to trickle down forever, but I think we're at a point right now where initially I had tried to say I'm going to do this challenge doing only soccer cards, which mostly was just to kind of keep the content on this channel soccer card focused. But I think in reality, like most people, many people who are in any card market, if you're trying to build a bankroll to like achieve some goal, the profit that you make from a basketball card or a football card or a UFC card or a soccer card, it's going to all, contribute to that goal in the same way. So I think I'm going to start looking at different markets. I've noticed, especially with some like UFC cards, some basketball cards, that there's just some sort of different profit and upside dynamics in play right now versus the soccer card market. Obviously, that could totally change, especially as we start getting into the U.S. men's national team, playing again and playing in more tournaments, and even especially when they start the qualifying cycle for the next World Cup. But just something to kind of think about, and probably something I'll start mixing in just to kind of not only like test out different hypotheses, but then also share those results with you all. So that's going to do it for today. Kind of a longer video, but had a lot to catch up on. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon, and take care. Bye. All right, now we'll take a quick snapshot at our Grail Quest ledger. So really quick, we started with an initial investment of $1,000. Between purchases, grading fees, and shipping, we've spent around $2,600, $2,700, and then we've had $3,300 of sales so far. So our current bankroll sits at $1,631.82. This includes $1,042, or almost a 46% ROI on items that we've sold. So we have a number of items that are at PSA currently. So we have a cost basis in them, but they haven't been graded or sold. We have a couple items that we've graded that we still have to sell. So the most recent price of the Grail Quest Lionel Messi Mega Cracks 71 Biz PSA 8 was $7,200 on PWCC. That was back a couple of weeks ago. So we are only about a fourth of the way there still. I did include this last line here, which is our bankroll, including receivables, which I basically took graded cards waiting to sell and what current comps are, as well as effectively just like the raw cost of the other cards that we bought. And assuming if we recoup that cost and make basically nothing, we would have $2,150.82. So you can see, like, generally, like, kind of overall, we've more than doubled our starting bankroll, which is awesome. I mean, we've been at this for about 6 months. Definitely a bit of a grind. It doesn't happen kind of overnight, but we've already doubled our bankroll once. So if we can double our bankroll again in 6 months or more, all of a sudden we're at over $4,000. So having a bigger bankroll allows us to buy more cards and sort of increase our volume, as well as just increase our opportunities for profit. So going over to the tracker really quickly. So if we look at the profit column, you can see, again, the main theme is that we have a lot of small losses offset by some big profits. Is kind of basically what we've done so far, which I think is great. Hitting big on a few cards and then sort of limiting our losses on other cards is really, I think, the way to build bankroll in this challenge. The other area that I wanted to point out is just that we have the green highlights are cards at PSA. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11 cards still at PSA waiting to be graded. And of the non PSA cards, we basically just have 2 that need to be sold. Virgil van Dijk Genesis and a Virgil van Dijk Pink Fluorescent. So if you know of any Virgil van Dijk fans that are looking at PSA 10s of very limited cards, send them my way. But yeah, that'll basically do it. Nothing much to say here other than, continuing to slowly build our bankroll, and we'll come back with another update with some recent pickups, and yeah, we'll keep at it. So thanks again for watching, and take care.